Well, the situation in Russia today is not a photograph, it's a motion picture. Russia is still evolving from the end of the Soviet Union 20 years ago. So not surprisingly, you see all sorts of developments that reflect Russia's history. You see authoritarianism in the government, but you also see democratic institutions and practices. You see people who still live in the traditional Russian way, particularly in the countryside, but you see emerging in 2 or 3 large cities, even some large provincial cities now, what we would call, though not entirely accurately, but a kind of Western style middle class, professional class, which is emerging on the political scene, as we've seen in the demonstrations and protests in Moscow. We see a governing class in Russia today that is still partially Soviet. Many of these people were born and educated in the Soviet Union, but now people who were educated and came to politics since the end of the Soviet Union, so they're post-Soviet. The same is true in the economic class, the people who control Russia's wealth, administer Russia's economy. It is, excuse me, both Soviet and post-Soviet. Why is this important? Because Russia is in transition. Its future is the subject of a struggle in Russia. There are many people who want to take the country toward the West, but there are many people who believe Russia belongs in what they call Eurasian space, neither West nor East. And those are the people who advocate, for example, today a positive relationship with both Beijing and Berlin. That's the Eurasian view, West and East. And there are others who want Russia to become a kind of NATO country, an ally, though they've diminished in importance. And this struggle goes on in Russia, and it's going to go on for a long time. It's not anything that we should get excited about or dramatize. It's natural. As Gorbachev, the founder of Russian democracy, has said, it took many countries 100 years to get to democracy, and Russia's only been at it for 20. And so we should stay calm, but above all, make wise policies, both in Russia and in the West. So it's extreme, for someone who studied Russia for 30, 40 years, it's an extremely interesting, sometimes exciting, sometimes depressing, but important moment.